Good afternoon, folks. The Cleveland Cavaliers are now 17-3 after dropping to the Hawks. Have not done any post games after the losses, so we'll get one in today. It's not always positive. The Cavs dropped to 17-3 with the defeat. It's their second loss in a row against the Hawks. You're not going to win them all. It happens. It stinks. You wish that that they can get this victory, but they didn't do it. They failed to perform. They let Trae Young cook them for the second game in a row. They could not get stopped. Honestly, some of the rotations were very questionable as the game wound along. So, you look at things and you say, hey, what can we take from this? And I think there's a lot of things, that you can take from this game. The Cavs didn't get it done. Apologies for the text below that says the panel. That is something separate. This is still across the Cavs, of course, on the post game, but there's a lot we can take away from this game. First off, do not face the Hawks in the playoffs. Second off, don't underestimate a team because of their record coming in. You can never do that anyway. But we look at the bench in tonight's game, and nobody really stands out as having had a big game. Every single player had a negative net rating. As a matter of fact, for the first time this season, the entire Cavaliers rotation, ended up with a negative net rating. We've not seen that where no player was positive, or no player was able to kind of muster, a positive out of the game and find their way through, get the job done. So, you look at things and you just say, hey, it didn't go their way. They didn't get the win. The number one pick, Zachary Risachet, had his moments. They let DeAndre Hunter cook them in back-to-back games. And if you're going to let that happen, well, you got to stop the bench of the other team from going off. Because if you're going to let the bench come in and destroy yours. So let's see the Hawks bench. Hunter, 23 points. Bogdanovich, 10. Okongwu at 15 and that timely 3. Of course, Kobe Buffkin added 2 more, but that's 55 points for the bench. Dyson Daniels, 3 steals. Yeah, the Hawks had 18 turnovers. It's great the Cavs forced so many and only had 13. They shot 41% from the field, 29% from 3. They actually didn't lose the free throw battle by much this time, but there was that Darius Garland inbound play where they lost the ball, thought they had the steal and the quick layup. They didn't. There were some easy misses. Donovan Mitchell tonight, kind of looked like Spider-Man when everyone forgot who Spider-Man was. Because he forgot he was Spider-Man, honestly. They may as well have just stripped his powers too. He shot 5 for 23 in the game. Not spoiling which movie that's from. It's a very good one. You should watch it. If you haven't, it's just a Spider-Man movie. Watch them all. You'll figure out which one. 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 for 23, 2 for 10 from deep. Darius had a really nice game, 29 and 5 assists, but nowhere near enough to help the Cavs win. Sam was 2 for 7. Levert, 2 for 5, had those 2 threes, but Niang was 1 of 6. Not sure why he was in the game down the stretch. Truthfully, probably shouldn't have been. Looking at second chances, the Cavs did win offensive rebounding, but it sure didn't feel like it. Jalen Johnson continues to wreak havoc, and whenever the Cavs weren't playing the double bigs, he would just get all this space to do whatever he wants. One thing about this new Hawks lineup, and yes, I'm not going to say they're not a world's beater. They're now 9-11 after winning this game. But the height and the length with the front court of Johnson, Risachet, and Capella definitely makes a difference for them. Then they come off the bench. They bring in Okongwu. They get a little bit smaller when Hunter replaces Risachet, but still you're going to have one of him or Johnson in with him. You got incredible length and size with Dyson Daniels on the wing, who just really, he's not always going to score, but 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a block. He did enough for his team. Bogdan always making an impact. DeAndre Hunter, 7 of 12. They missed him. It was a banged-up team that recently has gotten Hunter back, and they have gotten Bogdan back. They've gotten a little healthier. So Larry Nance hasn't been getting any minutes. Keaton Wallace not getting any minutes. Garrison Matthews, who've been playing very well, is not getting any minutes. This is still a 500 team. The Hawks over the last, 15 years are exactly 500 still. They haven't shown the ability to be a great team. They're just a good team in spurts, like when they took the Celtics to 6 a couple of years ago in the first round. You never know what's going to happen when you're talking about them, right? It could be anything on any given night. We don't know what version of the Hawks is going to show up. And unfortunately for the Cavs, we got the Super Hawks. The 2015-16 Hawks didn't walk through the door, but the way they handled business, and you have to give them credit. Look, the Cavs absolutely deserved both of these losses. Donovan struggled in this one. In that previous game, they kind of took their foot off the gas defensively after going up by 19 early on. Also, for what it's worth, this is not why this happened, why the game went the way it did. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. Today is the day after, 2:30 start time Eastern here over in Atlanta. They got to enjoy everything with their families back home. The Cavs had to do some traveling. Not enough of an excuse because every team travels in the league. You know, the Knicks just won a road game in Charlotte today. So regardless of who's playing, who's not, this is the NBA. There are 30 teams. There's very good players on every team. There's superstars who raise team ceilings and do it each night, but there really isn't an excuse. They can't say, oh, they had too much pie, they had too much turkey, they drank too much wine. You can't say any of that because the game is determined on the court. Whatever happens around it, you know, it's a learning experience for sure because they were 15-0 and Boston lost. Like, all right, a humbling loss. They're in the loss column. And now they come back here against the Hawks after winning a few in a row. Ty Jerome comes back to earth significantly. He finished today's game very quietly, 7 points, 3 steals, 3 rebounds, 3 of 7 from the field, including a 3-point play. You know, Merrill, 2 for 7. LeVert only had 8 points, 2 assists. Allen, 25 minutes of action, 6 points, 5 boards. Now, the question that I'd like to ask, should he be playing more? I do think he should. In those minutes, he's not getting enough inside touches. Now, as a center, you can get on the glass, do your thing, but a lot of the time, you might not get the offensive rebounds. It might not fall your way. They got to establish him inside. Donovan's 5 for 23. Why isn't Allen getting more than 3 shots in the game? Now, he did not play enough in the fourth. Evan had 24 and 12, did miss all of his threes. The Cavs shooting 29%, 11 to 38. Certainly didn't help their odds tonight. Mobley had 24, 12, and 3. Still felt like as the game got late, he was not getting his touches. The ball was moving on the perimeter. Donovan and Darius were kind of taking some turns. Jerome, you know, I think that they should kind of figure out a set closing group unless someone's having an amazing night. It was not Ty Jerome's night. Maybe they should have had more size. I did not like the 3-guard lineup with Niang and then Mobley. It really should have been Allen and Mobley. Yes, Okoro was 0 for 5, but his defensive versatility and length can make a difference in any situation, in any game. We hype up his defense all year, especially when he plays well. But feel like this was a game where Dean Wade could have had a massive impact defensively, making up for that size discrepancy that the Cavs are dealing with. But it just didn't happen. Double-doubles for Trey twice. Jalen Johnson, who comes in averaging 20, 10, and 5 assists, has been insane. That's after averaging 16, 9, and 4 last year. Yes, his turnovers are up. So are his playmaking off. His steals are up. His blocks are up. He's shooting 49%. An incredible talent for them. And he's only 23, or actually, he's only 22. He's not going to turn 23 until next. He is 23, excuse me. But it's a good team. The Hawks are an average team, but when they play good, they play very, very well. They're going to be a tough out all year. The question is going to remain, will they trade Trae Young? Would they do that? Could they trade Bogdanovich? They don't have any other super prospects. They do have Kobe Buffkin, who many were high on. He's very young. He's in his second year. He's only played 22 NBA games. Been playing limited minutes as the backup point behind Trae Young. He's born in 2003. Trying to feel old. There's your way in. You know, but there were also some calls that didn't go the Cavs' way. And while that's been a theme throughout the season, it can't be the reason they lose. It's not. You don't lose a game because you don't get enough whistles. In a lot of cases, you're also losing because you're not executing here and there. You're not capitalizing when you get it going. You know, there's a lot of factors in why you lose basketball games. And when you're 17-1, you're not thinking on the negative side. And honestly, when you do lose games, that's when you learn the most, you know, at the end of a winning streak. So they had all those victories. Now they've dropped 3 out of 5. How do you improve from here? We look at the upcoming schedule and, well, It's interesting. You got a double back-to-back next weekend. Here are the next 6 games. So the next 6 scheduled games. Actually, after the next 5 games, we don't exactly know what happens because of the NBA Cup. Celtics they got a 3-game homestand. They got Boston on Sunday, Washington on Tuesday, and the best player in the league, Nikola Jokic, on Thursday. He's averaging 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists. He's the number 3 leading scorer, number 2 in assists, number 1 in rebounds. Then they got the Hornets on Saturday, 1 p.m. start in Charlotte. You got the Miami Heat on Sunday. They're a trap for every team in the league. You have to show up and be ready. Between Jimmy Butler, Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, you got Bam, you got Pelle Larsson making plays. You obviously got Duncan Robinson. They're another average team this year, but they can scare a lot of squads on any given night. And then you're going to have the Bucks and Sixers on a back-to-back in December. There's 2 traps. Both teams are probably not what their record indicates. The Bucks are now a 500 team. They had started slow. They're showing they've been better. They're probably going to have Chris Middleton back in 3 weeks. So you have that to deal with. Then you're going to have the Sixers. Who knows what the in-season cup is going to look like. But to think, after the way they started, the Hawks are probably now going to win the group. Because I actually believe if we go to the standings, which I did not have pulled up, we're going to go to the standings in the group stage of the NBA Cup. The Hawks finished 3-1 and beat the Celtics head-to-head. So it really doesn't matter what happens in these other games for first place. Now, the point differential between the Hawks and the Celtics is only 1. All the Celtics have to do is win their game, and they'll be ahead. But because they beat Boston directly, you have to think it's harder for Boston to actually finish above. Cavs, by the way, 2 of their 3 losses now are in NBA Cup games. For what it's worth, I don't think it's worth much. I think the Hawks just came ready to play, And also, just fun fact, the Cavs actually have one of only 2 groups out of 6 that do not have an undefeated team. Like the Rockets are going to probably win their group. Suns, Spurs, and Lakers are tied, and that other one, West Group B, the Lakers' point differential is a yikes-a-rooney. That's not the best. But hey, getting back to the Cavs, this upcoming schedule certainly is challenging. And so some of the things I'd love to see as they move ahead. Well, first off, please get healthy, Dean Wade. Need some kind of new timetable for Max Strus because I've not heard anything encouraging about his return yet. And he will make a significant difference. Just wait. You remember some of the 2010 games he had last year, the shots against Dallas. He won them some games with his shooting. He's been missed. Imagine having another 6'5" shooting wing who can also defend at a high level and rebound 7-8 times a game. Makes a difference. He was around the Heat, winning culture. He came to Cleveland last year, brought winning culture immediately. That's why he got all that money. More Jalen Tyson minutes. Honestly, would not be against putting Tyson ahead of Niang. Put Tyson in first with LeVert. You got to play Sam for now because you don't want to use up all your two-way days this early, but would love to see Travers or Thor get some run. We know what they can bring defensively. Yes, they're both still pretty young, but they have a lot to offer on that defensive side of the ball. Certainly. So, humor me. Humor us all. Why not? Right? I want to see some more winning. It's not easy to win in the NBA. It's a grueling season. There's a lot that happens, a lot to deal with, internal factors, external factors. We just want to see the Cavs be more consistent. I think I speak for everybody when I say that. Darius had some marvelous games, but he's here and there. Donovan has some unbelievable days, and it's times where we think he's one of the top 10 we've seen. He's in the all-time Cavs starting 5 already for what he's done. The 30-point games that he's had, tying World B free already. He'll have his 5 of 23 days. Everybody goes 5 for 23 sometime. How does he come back? The coaches that are the most successful with their players, win or lose, because it's very hard game to game and everything that happens to really gauge it, are the ones that take it one game at a time. If you're asking a coach, what was the key to your winning streaks? That we took it game at a time. We took it one play at a time. We ran our best set here. When we call timeouts, we run our best set plays. I'm not interested in, after today, it's not going to be about what happened against the Hawks. It's what happens against Boston. You know, Bill Belichick, when he was coaching New England, was like, we're on to so-and-so. Like, forget about this game. We lost. All right. We're focused on the next one now. And it's true. You're only as good as your last performance, especially in the NBA over an 82-game season, except for, obviously, when Donovan scored 70. That was a year-long celebration, enjoying until Dame actually a week and a half later did the same thing somehow. But the point is this. Talented basketball team. They're still 17-3, right near that top of the East with Boston. Playing on Sunday. Kristaps is back. They got everybody going. His fingers crossed. Dean can come back. Figure out your rotations. Definitely tighten it up for a matchup like that. A 3-game losing streak will not destroy the amazing start the Cavs had, which is what happens if they lose to Boston. A win would certainly inspire a new confidence, saying they could bounce back from struggle against the best in the league. But we'll see. Because they got Drew, and they got Derek White, and they got Tatum, and Brown, and Kristaps, and they're all very good defenders. Derek White and Drew Holiday are the 2 best guard shot blockers in the league. You know, those guys are Olympians. They're champs. So is Tatum. Well, he didn't play. I'm always going to be talking about that. But let's get ready for Boston. Right? That's all they can do is get ready for those Celtics, because that game ain't going to be fun. It's going to be a really tough watch, because it's going to be stressful for 40 minutes, because that's what happens when you're playing the champs, the best in the league. And we're going to find out if the Cavs learned anything. It's in Cleveland this time. Home fans behind them. Let's get some whistles, get a loud crowd in there on Sunday. And 3 words, let them know. See y'all next time.